Ava Hale could still smell the smoke, even years later, even after growing older, even after forcing herself to keep moving. She was 16 when the fire took everything. Her room, her school books, her future, her home, and her family. The town called it an accident. The newspapers called it a tragedy. The neighbors whispered behind closed doors, but Ava knew the truth even then. Someone lit that fire on purpose. Someone wanted the Hale family gone. And whoever it was succeeded. Ava survived, barely breathing, barely conscious. Her parents didn't make it out alive. She was pulled from the ashes like a ghost, coughing and bruised, eyes stinging from smoke, fighting for a life she didn't choose. When she woke in the hospital, the first face she saw wasn't family. It wasn't a friend or a neighbor. It was Mayor Elias Rowan himself, pretending to wipe a tear from his eye, playing the grieving leader for the cameras. The nurses called him a savior. The town believed his kindness. But Ava saw something else entirely. Guilt hiding in the corner of his eyes. Fear quiet but impossible to miss. And a darkness he tried to mask. Rowan touched her shoulder gently. "You're safe now, Ava," he whispered. "I'll take care of everything." But Ava knew better. Even at 16, she could read him. Rowan was lying. The town pitied her everywhere she went. The schools avoided her like bad luck. Whispers chased her down hallways. Poor girl. She has no one. She should leave and start over. So she did exactly that. At 17, she packed a bag. Took a lonely bus out of town, left behind every memory of the fire. For 5 long years, she worked quietly. Waitress, cashier, night shift clerk, anything that paid and kept her invisible. But her real work happened inside her mind. She studied people relentlessly, silently. Learned crime psychology by observation. Learned body language by survival. Learned corruption by watching the world. And every day she sharpened her instincts. She wasn't planning revenge. She wasn't planning violence. She refused to become what hurt her. No, Ava wanted something far colder. She wanted the truth exposed. And she wanted Rowan stripped of power. Ava returned on a quiet winter morning. The buildings looked untouched by time. The people still carried the same eyes. But Ava wasn't the girl they remembered. A black coat, calm presence, dark eyes, a silence that scared those watching her. She didn't visit the ashes of her home. She didn't kneel at graves she never believed. Instead, she went straight into the lion's den. Rowan Industries, the mayor's real castle. Not built on leadership, but corruption. Not authority, but control. The guard tried to block her path. "Miss, you can't just walk in." Ava smiled and handed him a badge. One she shouldn't have had, but one he couldn't question. He froze, then let her pass. Ava walked the halls like she belonged. And after some digging, she realized she nearly did belong there. The company was bleeding money fast. Hidden lawsuits and shell companies. All connected to one man, Rowan. Ava waited in a conference room. When Rowan walked in, he didn't know her. He saw faces daily shaking hands, smiling lies. But Ava recognized him instantly. The same masked kindness. The same polished deceit. "Have we met?" Rowan asked casually. Ava replied, "Years ago. Hospital." His smile cracked for a second. "Ava Hale. You've grown." She stepped back from his attempted hug. She wasn't there for comfort. She wasn't there for forgiveness. She wasn't there for closure. She came for the truth finally. Ava slid a folder across the table. Insurance fraud, land records, bribes, and a map of Hale property he bought. Rowan's face drained of blood. Ava leaned close and whispered, "I'm not here for revenge. Justice." Rowan tried to laugh it off. "You can't prove anything," Ava simply said. "I already have." Ava didn't need violence. She didn't need threats. She simply told the truth quietly. Journalists received anonymous files. Investigators saw red flags everywhere. Whispers turned into headlines. Rowan tried everything to stop her. Threats, bribes, intimidation, denial. But Ava had no weakness left to target. And soon, protesters filled City Hall. Accounts froze, partners backed out. Rowan's empire shook beneath his feet. The USB drive Lucas Vance, Rowan's ex-advisor, appeared with a smug smile. He placed a USB drive on the table. "Everything he ever hid," Lucas said. Every payment, every fake report, every illegal land grab Rowan made. Ava asked him, why betray him? Lucas laughed bitterly. "He betrayed me first." Ava didn't trust him fully. But she didn't need full trust. She only needed the truth. And Lucas gave her exactly that. Rowan panics. Rowan lost sleep for the first time. His lies didn't work anymore. His team doubted him. Family left him. Every night he saw Ava's calm stare, not the girl from the ashes, but the woman who became a blade. He screamed into the phone. Who is leaking information? His advisor said quietly, "Sir, the documents are real." Rowan froze completely. "She's back, isn't she?" The interview Ava met journalist Sienna Clark, a woman known for exposing monsters. "I want truth to stop hiding," Ava said. Her voice didn't shake, it cut. She told the story of the fire. She showed the evidence calmly. Sienna whispered, trembling, "This could take down a mayor." Ava corrected her softly. "This will take down a monster." 3 days later, the world watched, and Rowan's world collapsed. Ava sensed someone in her house. She walked in without fear. Rowan stood in the dark, shaking. "Why are you doing this?" He cried. Ava stared right through him. "You know why." He begged, offered money, power, everything except the truth. Ava whispered, "I survived fire. I won't fear smoke." Rowan backed away, terrified. For the first time of her, Lucas called her at midnight. He handed her Rowan's confession. Plans, payments, admissions, everything he never meant to reveal. The missing piece of the puzzle. Ava's eyes hardened like steel. Ava found Knox's workshop quietly. A tall man with a scar responded. She said, "You lit the Hale fire." He froze, stunned she knew him. Knox confessed the job details. A warning fire that turned deadly. Rowan hired him to finish Ava if she ever returned alive, but Knox turned on Rowan first. "Rowan betrayed me too," he said. He gave Ava the metal box. The real final evidence? The raid on Rowan. Investigators raided Rowan's office. Files seized, computers taken, phones grabbed. Rowan screamed at everyone around him. He was suspended immediately. Reporters surrounded him everywhere. His downfall was public and loud. Ava prepared her testimony, sorting evidence like sharp blades. Footsteps approached her home. Lights went out completely. A hired killer entered silently. Rowan's final desperate move. Victor Hale raised a knife. Ava didn't panic or beg. She talked him out of killing her. Exposed Rowan's betrayal of him. Victor hesitated and was shot. Knox stood behind him with a gun. Reporters filled every seat. Cameras clicked nonstop. Ava walked in calmly and silently. Rowan looked shocked she lived. Evidence filled the courtroom table. Ava testified without shaking once. She presented everything: burnt orders, maps, confessions, recordings. She exposed each lie one by one. Finally, she pointed at Rowan. He hired Knox to burn my home. The room erupted in pure chaos. Rowan was found guilty: arson, conspiracy, fraud, murder. He screamed as officers dragged him out. Ava didn't smile or celebrate. She simply breathed out once. The war she never wanted was over. Ava stood on her family land. Sun warm, eyes steady, heart quiet. Lila handed her the property papers. Lucas smirked proudly beside her. Knox stood respectfully in silence. Everything was legally hers now. "I'll rebuild," Ava whispered softly. "Not for revenge, for healing. A home for kids like her. A safe place for the forgotten." The fire ended with her rise. She finally felt real peace. Final Line's justice isn't loud. It's patient. It's steady, and it arrives in silence. Ava Hale rose from ashes because she refused to burn twice. Ava Hale stood on the soil that once burned. The air felt lighter, the wind gentler somehow. Where her home once stood was now open earth, but she didn't see ruin, she saw beginning. This wasn't a grave anymore, it was foundation. A place ready to rise with her. She didn't want to build a mansion. She didn't want wealth shining in windows. She wanted doors, open ones, always open. A home for kids like her once was. A place where fear had no room to grow. A place where silence healed instead of suffocated. Lucas handled the financial architecture carefully. Knox stood guard over every deal quietly. Lila became the soft heart kids could trust. Ava united them like pieces of a reborn family, not by blood, but by shared survival. Her empire began with 3 unlikely allies. Blueprints filled every wall of her small office. Dorm rooms, study halls, gardens, therapy wings. Everything designed for children without chances. Contractors lined up for the project respectfully. Investors sought her out for partnership. The town whispered Ava Hale had returned to rule. Ava named it the Hale Center for Resilience. Not an orphanage, a launch pad for new lives. Kids wouldn't survive here. They would grow, learn to read people as she once did. Learn to build, to speak, to lead fearlessly. This was her gift to children stolen by life. One afternoon, Rowan's daughter appeared. Eyes swollen, voice shaking, hands trembling. "My father destroyed your life," she whispered. "But he destroyed mine too." Ava listened, silent but not cold. Pain recognizes pain even across bloodlines. The girl begged for forgiveness painfully. Ava didn't offer anger or easy comfort. "I don't punish children for their parents." Those simple words broke the girl down. Compassion became Ava's sharpest victory. Mercy became the crown she wore proudly. Construction began on a bright morning. Machines roared where flames once rose. Ava watched from a distance, quietly focused. Not with pride, but with responsibility. Every sound felt like a promise kept. Every echo felt like reclaiming her future. Rowan tried appealing from prison hopelessly. Letters begged her to visit and forgive him. Ava returned each one unopened, untouched. Forgiveness wasn't weakness, but choice. And she chose peace without reopening wounds. She chose freedom by never looking back. A small girl arrived at the unfinished center. She stood by the fence, clutching a backpack. Her eyes looked exactly like Ava's once did, quiet, observant, wounded, waiting to be seen. Ava knelt to meet her face gently. "You're safe here now," she whispered softly. Word spread faster than she expected. Volunteers arrived without being asked. Teachers offered free classes weekly. Doctors donated therapy and checkups. The center became a living heartbeat, and Ava became the pulse that guided it. Ava walked the halls each evening, checking rooms, touching walls, reviewing plans. Everything carried her parents' quiet strength. Everything reflected the girl she once was. Her empire wasn't built from wealth. It was built from scars turned into scaffolding. Hundreds gathered around the huge entrance. Reporters whispered, but Ava ignored them. She looked only at the children entering, faces filled with fear and fragile hope. She opened the doors with steady hands, and the world finally saw her purpose. Ava spoke softly into the microphone. Some of us rise from ashes quietly. Some of us rebuild with trembling hands. But all of us deserve a place to start. This center is not my victory. It is proof that pain can become power. That night, lights glowed through every window. Children laughed from the common room. Volunteers chatted over paperwork casually. Ava watched from outside with gentle pride. Her parents would have stood beside her. And for the first time, she felt whole. Ava Hale didn't build an empire of wealth. She built an empire of futures, not fear. An empire born not from revenge, but purpose. She didn't just survive the fire, she rewrote it. She didn't rise for power, she rose for others. And that made her unstoppable forever.